What's up, guys? It has been with 2020 election predictions, and we are only 3 days away from the election. We are getting into the final days so far, and I mean, and I think that this race is getting closer day by day. I mean, if we look at the data, the polling data, the the voter registration data, it does appear like that in the past week. This race is getting closer. Um, One thing that I'm not gonna tell you who I voted for until election day, and after that, then I definitely will. But heading into the final days of the campaign, both candidates are out on the campaign trail. President Trump is holding multiple rallies each day, and Biden is too. Biden, I think his previous strategy was to kind of just kind of chill out, but in this last week, we see both candidates are getting on the campaign trail, and I think people are realizing that this race is going to be closer than people thought beforehand. I would say about 2 weeks ago, that this race was a little bit out of hand. I thought looking at the betting odds right after the first debate, Trump really slipped, and then when he got COVID, but it really appears like that Trump has bounced back from where he has been. And I think part of this is due to him being on the campaign trail. That's kind of where he likes to be. I even saw a report. So it looks like that we are not going to know the election results on election day. It'll probably be a little bit afterwards. But Trump might even keep on campaigning afterwards, because I think this is where Trump feels the most comfortable talking to the people. And we saw that after he won in 2016, he did like thank you tours across the country. And I think that Trump just isn't kind of one of these conventional politicians, but he really kind of likes like testing out different things during his rally. And he just loves having the crowd there. I would love to answer some of y'all's questions in the chat. Happy Halloween, everyone. But I just would love to hear y'all's opinion on where you think the race stands right now. One thing that I've been pretty shocked is on the Economist presidential model, we see that Trump only has a 3 to 4% chance to win. And I mean, this just really surprises me, because just looking everywhere else, looking at kind of at a bunch of the news sources, a bunch of the models, that appears to kind of be an outlier. I mean, 538 has Trump, I think, at a 10 or 11% chance, which is about 3 times the Economist model. But then looking at Predicted, they give Trump about a 39 to 40% chance to win. So there's definitely a gap in these kind of models. And let's see, someone else in the chat, did you already tell people who you're voting for? No, I had a live stream where I was about to, but the more I thought about it, I probably thought it was more wise to wait until after the election there. Right now, and Moses ain't here, it is correct. On my last prediction, I did have Biden winning 279 electoral votes. That would be Arizona, Florida, and North Carolina would go to Trump. While Biden would I keep the Rust Belt. It's all just very interesting right now with a lot of things in flux. I don't know how reliable these polls are that are coming out of the Rust Belt, especially. I trust the polls more in Florida and Arizona and North Carolina. But in the Rust Belt, like we saw in 2016, it's just a lot different. One thing with voter turnout, and I just did a video on this. I think voter turnout overall is going to help Biden. Like the fact that more people have voted in Texas than they did in the total of 2016, I think goes to show that Texas is going to be a lot closer than it was 4 years ago. I still don't think Biden's going to win Texas, but this is a state where both campaigns are kind of putting a little bit of money there. But let me kind of go to the chat right now. So Christopher says, I'm willing to bet that Biden gets over 350 electoral votes. So this is possible, but for that to happen, Biden would have to win Texas, and I really don't see Texas flipping right now. And if any of y'all want to bet on the election, you can on predicted. I was looking kind of at this. You can't bet on politics legally in U.S. casinos. So you can only bet on kind of foreign websites, which is a little bit sketchy. But predicted is one of the websites that's actually not really sketchy. I use it. One thing there is with the fees. Yeah, fees are a little bit outrageous, but other than that, it's a pretty good website. So I would love to answer your questions. I think that Georgia is increasingly going to become more close. On the Senate level, I had both of those races go into the GOP. However, right now, I think in the special election, Kelly Loeffler, Raphael Warnock, and Doug Collins are kind of the candidates. I really don't think that Doug Collins and Kelly Loeffler are great candidates for kind of the mainstream GOP. I think like David Perdue is a far better candidate for the GOP there, and I also think that Raphael Warnock is a better candidate than John Ossoff. So I think that Georgia definitely has the potential to flip. On the presidential level, I still give Trump a slight advantage, but as we saw in 2018, I mean, Georgia's becoming a lot closer, and I don't think we've seen the end of how close that Georgia can be. Right now, I'm predicting Biden between 270 and probably 330 electoral votes. So I honestly think that Biden will win, but I think it'll be by a smaller margin than Trump won in 2016 if you just purely look at the electoral votes. But again, I think there's a lot more variability now than there's ever been in the past. We have a ton of polls, but the polls are kind of all over the place. Florida is pretty hard to predict right now because I think if you look at the registration data, the early voting data, it's different than some of these other things right now. So let's see. Christopher says that Biden carries Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, PA, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Then he comes out at over 350 electoral votes, and you might be right there. I think I actually misspoke because I mean Biden doesn't need Texas by any means to win, but I think what his campaign is saying right now that would kind of be the cherry on top. But it's a very interesting race right now. Let's see. I'm actually doing the calculations right now. So this is with if Biden wins. So I have Biden at 337 right now if he wins Georgia, Florida, and all the states, but does not win Texas, Iowa, or Ohio. If he wins Ohio and Iowa, then that does come over 350. And if he wants to get over 400, then he can win Texas. And that actually gets him to exactly 400 right there. Let's see. History says that for Trump to lose, Biden would have to be Reagan. I don't really know what that means. Let's see. I think that the Dems will gain control of the Senate. So this is actually something that I've changed pretty recently right now. I did have the GOP winning 51 seats in the Senate. Right now, I'm changing that. I think that currently the GOP will win between 49 and 50 seats, and that the Democrats will retain control of the retake control in it. So this is a change that I just made, and it's based out of the state of Georgia. So I honestly think that Raphael Warnock right now is slated to win there. I think this is so that race is not going to be decided until December or January, kind of in the jungle primary runoff. And I previously thought if Biden had won, or if he wins, then I think there'll be kind of a lot of Republican grassroots support. But I think on the flip side, there's going to be a lot of Democratic grassroots support too. But who knows? Let's see. Amit Sinha asks, "What do you think of Trafalgar? They've been very accurate in the Rust Belt, but not in the Sun Belt." So I think that the Trafalgar polls are good to have in the Rust Belt because it goes to show that, like, in 2016 the Trafalgar group was correct in the Rust Belt. So while I kind of do agree that the Trafalgar group is probably not as accurate in the Sun Belt, I definitely think that they should be taken into consideration in the Rust Belt. And we should add them to the polls there. So do you think we'll find out results on election day? I think it depends. So I don't think that we're going to know the results out of most of the Rust Belt states that I think will matter, but I think we will know North Carolina. I think that we could know Florida. If North Carolina and Florida go to Trump, then I think we probably won't know the results for a while. However, if Biden wins North Carolina, then I think we can pretty easily say that Biden is going to win. So I think what we're going to know on election day is either that Biden had won or that we don't know who the winner is. I don't think that it's going to be decided that Trump has won on election night. And Biden has said in the past that he doesn't plan on conceding on election night. Hillary Clinton doesn't want him to. And there is something to say that there might be kind of a red mirage and a blue shift as more of the mail-in votes get counted, because we see Trump at his rallies encouraging his supporters to vote on November 3rd, election day, not to mail on the ballot. And looking at the polls, we do see kind of this gap between Democrats and Republicans there. Let's see. Longa Bonga says, "How probable is a blue Georgia and a red Florida?" Before, I thought this would be a little bit more rare, but if we actually look at the predicted markets right now, currently Biden has a better chance in Georgia than he does in Florida. And Georgia is increasingly looking like it might go blue this go around. And I think there's several reasons for this. I think that the city of Atlanta is just growing incredibly fast. But if Biden wins Georgia, I think this just changes the trajectory of the entire race. If Biden wins Georgia, I really don't see a path for Trump. But he would have to win the entire Rust Belt. But yeah, honestly, right now, I think it's more probable that Trump wins Florida, just kind of looking at the early voting and voter registration data. But that's my opinion. Let's see. I've noticed you're very hesitant to give North Carolina to Biden. So honestly, right now, I think that Biden might hold a slight advantage in the state of North Carolina, while Trump probably holds a slight advantage in Florida. North Carolina is going to be a very, very interesting state. I've said in the past it could end up being the most important state. If Biden wins North Carolina, I think it will be kind of the first state decided, and that we will see that. Look, I mean, this race, we first found out that Biden was going to win in North Carolina. So I think that definitely is going to be very, very interesting, and probably kind of the state that I'm going to look at the most, because I think it's going to be the first to decide, just because they start counting their ballots beforehand. All right, guys, for right now, I'm only going to be doing a 15-minute live chat. Thank you all so much for joining, but I'm going to be doing a live stream every day, and also come out with a new video every day. So thank you all so much for joining, and I'll see y'all later.